We are blocking the two entrance gates of Monsanto today by locking ourselves on. In this way we prevent that the gates can be opened, and we prevent that the workers can go in. So we want to stop all work at the company for a whole day. So economically, that brings them some harm. We plan to stay here until the working day is over, so they can't work for the whole day. You definitely don't need any special training. Okay. You just need motivation. So basically, we are in this tube and we can't get out. That's how we block the gate. We're attached. They have to cut through it. This is quite thick, it's strong steel. I think they won't be able to do it with little saw, some bigger machines. They have these special de-locking teams, which is not bad, because then at least you know that they know what they're doing. But I think it's outrageous that a company like Monsanto is destroying so many things in the world. And the company that was here was a Dutch seed industry called Ruiter Seeds, and it was taken over by Monsanto in 2008. And this clearly shows the character of a company like Monsanto. They're just like trying to buy up more and more seed companies. They're trying to monopolize the market more and more. Trying to have control basically over the whole food industry. Monsanto is clearly a company that really works on its image because they started off as a chemicals company. But then, of course, like any company, they're trying to make more profits, or they're trying to find new markets. So that's when they started to get interested in the genetic engineering industry. So they started buying up, little by little, seed companies to be able to genetically manipulate plants, to take the patents on these plants, and actually find another product to sell their chemicals with. But then, of course, if you're not a chemical, well, supposedly not a chemical company anymore, it becomes a lot easier to give yourself a green image, because you can say, you know, as an argument that is often given, we're actually feeding the world, because with high production agriculture, we can feed more people because we have higher rendements and stuff like that. But the opposite is true. I mean, there's enough scientific studies that show that there is not necessarily a higher rendement of these crops. And also an argument what they're often using is that on genetically manipulated plants they have to spray less pesticides. That's also not true, because there is also a lot of proof that this is not the case.
I introduced myself, so I really like to know who you are and who you are. We already heard that you were European top and you are the Dutch representative. Why don't you say who you are?
Thierry Boyer.
Thierry Boyer.
Yes.
Did you do that?
This is just, we improved this art a bit. We had some art here and we just adjusted this Monsanto art a bit more to the Monsanto manipulated reality. That's what we did here.
It's for a nice picture, you know.
We didn't really destroy it.
Do you same thing? Well, that's minor damage compared to the damage Monsanto is doing to the world. So he's right.
Okay.
Would you give back life to those children who died in Paraguay from soya plantations from the Round Up? Would you? Why are you asking questions if you don't give the answers?
That's a heavy, real question.
Yeah. Would you give back the life to those children?
Maybe he doesn't know about it because he's from France. You are from the area.
He worked for Monsanto. He killed them.
It's true what he says. It's a serious question. It's terrible.
The main GM crop grown the day of today is genetically manipulated soy. It's mainly cultivated in South American countries. Monsanto owns it. It's called Round Up Ready Soy, and actually this soy is not food. It's not food for people because the majority of this crop is being used as fodder for the industrial livestock industry, mainly being exported as such from South American countries where it's grown to Europe and China, where meat markets are huge and intensive. It's quite absurd anyway that in countries where there is so much poverty, that land is actually being taken over for the production of fodder for European and Chinese meat and not for local food production. I think it's important that people realize what the situation is of food the day of today. That, you know, meat is not... meat is being produced at a scale that is not like, you know, some cows walking around on farms. There's actually a whole industry behind. There are companies like Monsanto behind that actually poison our agriculture. So people should stop eating meat, because it's not only it's also good for against climate change in a way. So that's an extra reason. They should try to eat more local and in that way support local farmers, so they also are less dependent on large-scale companies, and try to eat more organic foods, so we don't need these pesticide companies anymore.